Hi, I'm Duckball, and this week, while implementing some user interface stuff, I had to make some actual gameplay decisions. In the last video, I implemented a wave system, but there was no UI to really see what was going on. So this week, I implemented a very simple UI. Again, this won't be the final version, it's just a test, which shows us how many lives are remaining in this run, what wave we're up to, how many monsters are alive, how many we've killed, and the time of the run. So you can see this run just finished on wave 4 and we lost all of our lives and we got all of 2 kills. There obviously hasn't been any sort of game balancing in yet, so whether we get to wave 4 on our first run or not is something we'll figure out later, but we can see here there's a couple of drops. So if I put some of these skill mods into the tower, let's see how far we get on the second run. I've made it so that I can just hit the space bar and it'll restart the run once you've lost all your lives. So it just makes it a little bit easier to modify your towers and do whatever you need to in between runs. Let's see how we go. So we're starting to lose some lives now around wave 5. Let's see how many we can get. Remember, in the first run, we lost 2 lives. We got 2 kills. And it looks like we've made it to wave 6 with 22 kills. Now, just to show you how some of the progression will work, this tower currently has 2 skill modifiers, which is why we're getting the multi-shot happening. Now, I picked up a few things here in this last run. Let's have a look. That one's got strength 5. That one's got 9. Let's see if we can find one. There's one with 10. I'm going to drag this person into the person slot. There we go. And I'm going to keep the skills exactly the same. We've just added a person with 10 strength. So now I'm going to clear the board and restart the run. And let's see. So the first run was 2 kills on wave 4. Second run was 22 kills on wave 6. Let's see how far we get this time. And if you see the drops disappearing every now and then, I've just bound a key to the letter C, and if I hit C, it just clears the board. Right now, it's just my way of cleaning things up. So we're on wave 6 now, we still have full lives, and looks like we're getting a few kills now on wave 6. So the towers are doing a little bit more damage now with the person in them with some stats, which is cool. So again, it's not balanced yet, and there's going to be a lot more depth in that mechanic later. So we just got to wave 7 with 41 kills. So doing better. And of course, there's more things we can do. I can put some more skill modifiers in, so we'll do even more damage. So we can probably try to get up to about wave 10. In fact, let's try that. Let's see if we can get to wave 10. I've just done another couple of runs to get some equipment. So currently the setup is 4 multi-shots and a single split arrow. So this is basically kind of like machine gunning. Let's see how we go. And I'm going to keep clearing the board as well. All right, we're starting to lose some lives. We're on wave 10. Let's see how far we can get this thing to go. I think maybe 10 or there we go, wave 11. I don't think we'll make it past wave 11. There we go, wave 11, 89 kills in 1 minute 50. Now, there's probably a couple of things here to explain with this run though. You can see there's only a single tower on the map. Now, I can build a second tower right now, and that'll take me into a new mechanic that I've put into the game, but I'll explain that later. So I could build a second tower here. And if I put some skill modifiers and a person in that, we'll obviously get much further than wave 11. And then we can also, for those who have been watching for a while, we can build this other thing here, which is just a rock. Now, a rock allows us to build a maze with things that don't shoot. Obviously, later on, I'll add other versions of this, and I'll update the graphics so it doesn't look so terrible. But if I just put a few of these out here, then we can see if I start a new wave, they will dodge around the obstacles, around the rocks, and the towers will obviously shoot. So it will give us a lot of options. And that brings us into another two new things which I have to explain for this devlog. Number one is this build menu. So let me explain what this is and what some of my gameplay decisions were to get this to work. Now, there are 3 rows of things here that we can do. Now, again, these graphics are not final. This is just sort of a test menu. Now, this top level here with the save icon, this is for your loadouts or your maze shapes. So these buttons don't do anything yet. But the idea is that when you start building out these mazes, you probably will want to save certain layouts based on the towers you have and how many mazing obstacles you have, which I'll explain in a moment. Now, this second menu here is for obstacles. Forget the heart right now. That's just so that I can put a goal on the map. Eventually, the goals will already be there. You won't be able to build them. But these others are obstacles that go on the map. You will be limited on how many you can build at any point in the game. But again, I'll explain that later. And finally, the third menu is the tower menu. Now, as we can see here, there are 2 available towers. I've built them both, so if I click on these, nothing happens. They're both already on the game board. The others, the other 8, are currently empty slots, and those will be for towers which you unlock later. And that's a gameplay decision which I will now explain. So originally, I kind of just had the idea of the towers and the mazing, and I had no real idea on how to limit options for the player. So I had mazes of essentially infinite towers on the grid, which you could do whatever you wanted with. With a bit of thinking about how to do this build menu, I came up with the idea that you can have a maximum of 10 towers in the entire game. And with those towers, you can modify them individually. So if I open this tower over here, and let's say I put a blue ball skill in with 1 modifier, then when you restart the game later from a save game, then this tower here, if that's that one, will have those same things in it. So eventually you'll be able to save your towers and you'll be able to save your loadouts. Now, this should add for some interesting gameplay decisions later. Oh, there's an enemy stuck. I'm not sure where that enemy's stuck. Oh well, I found a bug during recording. I'll fix that one later. So the idea behind this is that as you progress through the game, you unlock tower slots, and eventually, once you have all 10, you'll want to make some stronger. So to make them stronger, you'll have to probably sacrifice your weaker ones and add new ones to make them stronger. So this is an element of strategy that everyone will have to do, and so on and so forth. Now, with the obstacles, the number of these you can build will also go up. Now, this is not the final layout for the build menu. I'm going to have different possible builds here, and then a certain number of each. So for example, you might have 1 icon for the rock, and you might be able to build 10 of them. So when you first start the game, you'll start with the ability to build 2 towers and 2 rocks. So for example, if I'll just put a goal there, your maximum at the start that you'll be able to build is, for example, let's go a rock there, and a rock there, and a tower there, and a tower there. So it's not really a maze at the start, but I think it'll allow players to begin to understand the concept of the maze and the concept of how to build towers without overwhelming with too many options and going straight into all the mechanics at once. So this is my thought at the moment. If anyone has any thoughts or ideas on how I can make this part of the progression maybe a little bit more interesting, then please let me know down below. But for now, I think later on in the game, my idea is that people should be able to maze essentially the entire grid, but to get there is part of the progression system of the game itself. And with the loadout idea here, this will also play into the idea later on. I haven't decided exactly on how I'm going to do this, but it's possible that the grid will have different layouts and different positions, maybe different numbers of goals. So the idea is that the player should have choices on how to build their tower setups, or there might be tower setups for different purposes. For example, there might be, and this is just thinking, this is not actually in the game yet, but maybe XP builds or damage builds or whatever it might be later. I haven't really fleshed that one out enough yet, but we'll see as the game progresses. Again, if you have ideas, then let me know below. But as for this video, I'll keep it fairly short. I think the changes kind of speak for themselves, and it's been really fun trying to figure out now actual gameplay decisions, not just systems and code. So I think from now on, there'll be a lot more of that happening as the game starts to actually turn into a game. In saying that, there are still a few basic systems which I have to implement. So let's see how we go over the next week. And as well as that, my intention is to start creating some, I guess, more technical videos on why I decided to do certain things and how I did them. So I'll start those over the next week or two as well. But for now, this time it's actually Monday. Normally I'll do a video at the end of the week, but I had a few friends up from quite a way away for the weekend, and yeah, I kind of didn't get around to making a video. So a few days late, apologies to those who are subscribed, but I will be back on schedule as of the end of this week. So have a good week, whatever you may do, and I will talk to you all again on, well, at the end of the week. Ciao.